Hello everyone, this is Christel Mae Lopez, taking Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English third year. And for today, I'll be discussing all about the teacher and the community, school culture and organizational leadership, particularly in Unit 4, which is the teacher as a school culture catalyst. Let's begin with the structure in schools. A bureaucracy is a large, formal secondary organization characterized by a hierarchy of authority, a clear division of labor, explicit rules, and impersonal interactions between its members. In theory, bureaucracies are meritocracies that improve efficiency, ensure equal opportunities, and increase efficiency. In reality, some individuals benefit from structural privileges and social origins like a dominant race, language, or culture to which some other individuals may not have access. The foundations of the current educational system originated in the Industrial Revolution. The school environment became structured around hierarchy, standardization, and specialization. The bureaucratization of schools makes it difficult to instigate appropriate and immediate change when it required by changing needs of a society. In a pluralistic society, disseminating the dominant culture through which public education is a topic of heated social debate. Religious, cultural, and ethnic groups can feel marginalized and alienated when they are forced to conform to bureaucratic structures. Advances in information technologies provide constant connectivity to the virtual world. Schools have begun to take advantage of these virtual tools as enhancement and replacement on physical school structures and face-to-face learning experiences. Today, we're going to focus on discussing all about the classical Weberian bureaucracy. And of course, this bureaucracy wouldn't be possible or proposed or made without the person behind it. Of course, let's meet Maximilian Karl Emil Weber, born on April 21, 1864, and died on June 14, 1920. He was a German sociologist, historian, jurist, and political economist who is regarded among the most important theorists of the development of modern Western society. His ideas profoundly influenced social theory and research. While Weber did not see himself as a sociologist, he is recognized as one of the fathers of sociology along with Karl Marx and Emily Durkheim. He was also best known for his thesis of the Protestant ethic, relating Protestantism to capitalism, and for his ideas of bureaucracy. So, what is bureaucracy? Let's talk about it. The classical Weberian bureaucracy. What is bureaucracy? Weber's bureaucratic theory contributes significantly to the classical organizational theory, which explains that precise organization structure along with definite lines of authority is required in an organization to have an effective workplace. It is a specific form of organization defined by complexity, division of labor, permanence, professional management, hierarchical coordination and control, strict chain of command, and legal authority. Another one, in its ideal form, bureaucracy is impersonal and rational and based on rules rather than ties of kinship, friendship, or patrimonial or charismatic authority. Bureaucratic organization can be found in both public and private institutions. Max Weber's bureaucracy ideally has the following characteristic. First one, specialization and division of labor. Second, hierarchical authority of structures. Third, rules and regulation. Fourth, efficient and uniform requirements. Fifth, impersonality and personal indifference. Lastly, achievement-based advancement. Here are the following key terms that we're going to encounter when we hear the word bureaucracy. First, one best system. The idea that there is one uniform, standardized approach that forms the best strategy to educate all children. Hierarchy. Any group of objects ranked so that everyone but the topmost is subordinate to a specified group above it. Third, educational reform. The process of improving public education. A bureaucracy is an organization of non-elected officials of a government or organization who implement the rules, laws, and functions of their institution. In modern society, all formal organizations are or likely will become bureaucracies. According to Weber, a German sociologist and political economist, he began to study bureaucracy and popularized the term in academic, literature, and discourse during the mid 1800s and 1900s. Weber believed that bureaucracy was the most efficient and rational way of organizing. For Weber, bureaucratization was the key process in his theory on rationalization of Western culture. Weber popularly characterized a bureaucracy as having a hierarchy of authority, a clear division of labor, and explicit rules and impersonality. Weber's model for bureaucracy. Weber listed several preconditions for the emergence of bureaucracy: the growth in size of the population being administered, the growth in complexity of the administrative tasks being carried out, and the existence of a monetary economy requiring a more efficient administrative system. Weber identified in bureaucracies a rational legal authority in which legitimacy is seen as coming from a legal order and the laws enacted within it. This is contrasted with traditional forms of authority, which arose from phenomena like kinship. Rationalization describes a transition in society wherein traditional motivators of behavior like values, beliefs, and emotions are replaced with rational calculations. Weber termed the increasing rationalization in Western societies an iron cage that traps individuals in systems based solely on efficiency, rational calculation, and control. Now let's proceed with Weberian structures in schools. Bureaucratic authority at the expense of professional consideration. Authority based on position in the hierarchy. Professional structure delegates decision making to professionals. Chaotic structures, law bureaucratization, and professionalization. Bureaucratic structures complement technical competence and specialization of teachers. Professional structure is loose, fluid, and informal. The bureaucratization of schools has some advantages, but has also led to the perpetuation of discrimination and aversion to change, which are the following. First, critical issues of school bureaucratization. There are several positive aspects of bureaucracy. They are intended to ensure equal opportunities and increase efficiency based on meritocratic structure. Meritocracy means that hiring and promotion should be based on proven and documented skill rather than on nepotism or random choice. For example, in order to get into a prestigious college, you need to perform well on SAT or SAT and have an impressive transcript. In order to become a lawyer and represent clients, you must graduate from a law school and pass the state bar exam. However, the theory of meritocracy becomes convoluted when it is applied to schools because some individuals have access to privileges that give them advantage over other individuals. For example, wealthy families can hire tutors, interview coaches, test prep services, and consultants to help their kids gain the valued skills that will ultimately help them to get into the best schools. Despite good intentions and abundant rhetoric about equal educational opportunity, schools have rarely taught the children the poor effectivity. This failure has been systematic, not idiosyncratic. Talk about keeping the schools out of politics has often served to obscure an actual alignments of power and patterns of privilege. For example, before the Emancipation Proclamation, many black people sought education through private voluntary schools, which shows that they had a strong desire for education, generally believing that they could improve their social status through the equalizing power of schooling. However, they were excluded from school system by segregation laws. Even after desegregation, black students faced intense racism in mixed schools, and minority students continued to face institutional racism and discrimination on the level of micro-intentions. So the image shown is an example of the protest against the racial segregation of the U.S. schools. School bureaucracies struggle with the political challenge of defining a valuable educational curriculum and regulating the consistency that has access to those educational opportunities. Now let's proceed with the historical origins of school bureaucratization. In order to understand bureaucratization of schools, we must understand the historical development and the school system. When the US transformed into an urban industrial nation, corporations flourished, potential employees needed an education for a decent job. Child labor laws were enforced, and the urban school system has changed. During the Industrial Revolution, bureaucracies developed alongside the educational foundation for the current school model. Young workers were trained and organizations were built for mass production, assembly line work, and faculty jobs. In schools, students learn to value hierarchical command and standardized outcomes and specialized skills. This needs forms the basic for school bureaucracies today. Various interest groups have continually called for educational reform. However, bureaucratic authority often perpetuates positions and outward practices of bureaucracy at the expense of timely change and appropriate education for children's needs. City councils, school boards, superintendents, principals, and government officials from different interest groups and standpoints disagree about the one best system for the reproduction of American society. Most critics of school bureaucracies do not question the aim of transmitting the dominant culture through public education, but some dissenters oppose this strategy precisely because they fear their children will lose valuable cultural differences through their socialization in the American system. Immigration trends have posed serious concerns for public school education system because immigrants often bring religious, ethnic, and cultural differences to the classroom that differ from the protocol and ideology of one best system. School bureaucracies seek to assimilate foreigners by teaching them English, indoctrinating them in American civics, and providing them with skills and habits needed in the urban job market. Now, the modern society and school bureaucratization. The assumption that there is one best system for educating children has been especially problematic within the context of pluralistic American society, a globalized world, and advances in information and technology. Now, in the information stage, this kind of rigid training and adherence to protocol can actually decrease both productivity and efficiency. The model of American education based upon the industrial factory is undergoing a revolution based upon emerging technologies that redefine school organization as a virtual as well as a physical learning environment. In the 21st century teaching, learning and the educational system itself have been buffeted by forces that challenge the traditional bureaucratic arrangement of schools with tall administrative hierarchies, centralized decision-making, and tightly controlled structures. With the towers of the virtual K-12 educational organization, an emerging framework with technology. From this case study, researchers predicted that the educational system of the future will be designed around software capabilities that personalize the curriculum and make learning more meaningful to students. This case study outlines how one K-12 school district is managing change related to teaching, leading, and learning as it shifts to a more student-centered approach to education within a bureaucratic and virtually enhanced structure of schooling. Here is another image from Ford Assembly Line 1913. The Industrial Revolution altered the purpose of education system. Young workers were trained and organizations were built for mass production, assembly line work, and faculty jobs. In schools, students learn to value hierarchical command, standardized outcomes, and specialized skills. And that's it. I hope you've learned something about the classical Weberian bureaucracy, and other structures in schools will be discussed in the following videos. Thank you!